I want us to have a think about when we became so hated and how this feeling in our communities and societies is gathering speed. I was talking to a Scottish sister just 5 minutes ago at lunch. And we agreed in the 1970s in England, when I was growing up, it was so racist, so horrible. We had names for everybody of every single skin shade. And now our feeling is, in Britain, it's worse than the 1970s. But now it's a bit more focused. You can be an Italian in Britain and we won't use the W word. People have forgotten it, alhamdulillah. You can be Spanish, and Spaniards are quite cool now. They weren't in the 1970s. The French are never cool in Britain. Forgive us. It's an ancient thing. But now it's really focused on dislike and fear of Muslims. But I want us to look at why it's growing and what are we contributing to its growth and what can we do to change this atmosphere. I told you this was going to be a bit of a different presentation, so I'm going to do something now and I want you to tell me what I'm doing. Okay, watch this. Okay, who knows what I'm doing? Yeah, taking my shoes off and kicking them off. Where might I do that? At a mosque. Allahu Akbar. Now that really tells us something about our behavior and manners in in the holy places where we show respect to God. And as a Western Muslim, I have to tell ourselves that this is something that is hateful. And we have to be looking inwards to look outwards. And I'm not going to tell you that it's okay for your hijab to be grabbed in the street and your children to be abused because you don't put, and I don't put my shoes straight. But we need to straighten our house up. This kicking off of shoes, I wouldn't do it in somebody's house. Would you do that if you went into somebody's house? Would you kick your shoes off? No. Would you do it in your own house? Men, your wife would beat you. I mean, they'd be very polite and tell you off a bit. We would never do it. But somehow our public spaces are places where, unfortunately, Muslims are seen to be disrespectful. And I want us to approach this head on, and I'm going to throw this out there. Allah forgive me, and I love each and every one of you. This is a village mentality that we brought over. We live in Western cities where the expectation and manners are things that we've always respected traditionally. We're not talking about the thugs of today or the drunks in London that we might see. We're talking about the fact, things that I like being British about. We like to queue. It's always quite comical as an English person to go somewhere in the Middle East and kind of wait in line and everyone goes, and just sort of they're going, hello, what are you doing? Budge in, use your elbows, pretend it's Hajj. Astaghfirullah. We like these behaviors, but we're not attracting them and we're not mimicking the Prophet ﷺ by adding to them. I'll give you an example of something that happened to me recently. I was in a place called Wilmslow Road in Manchester, and it is one of the dirtiest streets in Manchester. It's filthy, there are rats, it smells of chicken shops. And now because of shisha bars, I'm sorry to say that what was once still a fairly pleasant place for Muslims to go out in the evening because there was no alcohol, the shisha bars have brought all of the worst elements of mainstream society as well. I was walking along anyway one evening, just before I recently decided I'd never go there again in the evening, and I walked past a little restaurant, and there's a Muslim family, having their dinner. A 7-year-old boy sat opposite his mum, wiped his mouth with a tissue, got up out of the seat, came out of the restaurant in front of me to the street and threw his napkin in the street. I stood there and I watched. I rubbed my eyes. Am I hallucinating? Somebody comes out of a shop to throw something in the street. My middle-class fury came to the fore, and I picked up the tissue and I went into the restaurant and I said, "Excuse me, I think your son dropped this." The Muslim lady just laughed. I said, "It's not funny. It's not funny making a mess of people's streets." This is how people see us. And this is why we are facing some of the problems, social problems that we're facing, because people are not seeing the best in us.